Hello, guys. Hello. It is your girl, Lizzie Yayo, forever keeping it a bando and the Hype magazine. And I have a very special, legendary guest here, Mr. T.C. Thompkins. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Lizzie?
I'm doing well.
Wonderful.
So, Mr. Thompkins, over 5 decades of being in the business, can you please tell me your story? Tell us your story.
Well, as you recently found out, I wrote a book about my story titled When Radio Was King. I happen to have a copy sitting right here. But I started in the industry right after I got back from Vietnam. I was in the military, and I got back from Vietnam, went to college at Bishop in Dallas, Texas. And I just had a strong desire to get in the industry. After I got out of college, I started working for Zales Corporation, managing jewelry stores, and I started selling jewelry, custom jewelry, to a lot of the artists at Stax Records. Now I know nobody uh, other than someone my age who would ever remember Stax Records. Stax Records was a black label, black independent label out of Memphis, Tennessee, that was world famous. It had Isaac Hayes, it had the Staple Singers, had the Bar-Kays, uh, Johnny Taylor, uh, William Bell, David Porter, Sam and Dave. So they were a label rich in black music. And I just got blessed enough uh, to get a job there. When I was working at Zale, I quit my job at Sales and took a pay cut to take the job at Stax because I just wanted to get in the industry that bad. And I started off in sales. At that time, Stax was trying to open up their own distribution back when there was physical distribution. And that didn't work out well for them. They had some problems with the major distributor, major company that was handling their distribution. And I just happened to see the handwriting on the wall and started interviewing for a job at Capitol Records. I worked at Capitol Records with Natalie Cole, uh, broke the first Mays record, the first record that Frankie Beverly and Mays came out with was one of my contributions because as soon as I heard that record, I knew it was a smash. I took the test pressing, which nobody knows what that is anymore. Test pressings are the advanced wax on a release when they were pressing wax. So they sent out test pressings on this group. Larkin All had sent me a test pressing on this group called Maze. And I just so happened to be on my way to New Orleans. And once I heard that record, I took the test pressings with me and gave it to radio. And the rest is history. WBOK was the first radio station in the country to play that record. Bobby Earl was the program director. So I stayed with Capitol. I worked with Capitol twice. I quit and came back. I worked for ABC Records for a while, worked with Chaka Khan and Rufus, worked with my boys, the Dramatics. Uh, had a great time when I was working at ABC. Worked with Chaka, Dramatics, Four Tops, Crusaders, uh, Pointer Sisters. Pointer Sisters was one of my first acts that I had to represent with. Basically, I had to do some events with the Pointer Sisters, and I was green as grass. They dogged me. They took advantage of me because I was a young kid, and they played with me and teased me and did a whole bunch of stuff with me. But I loved it. We did I can't remember. It was a Peaches store. There was a chain of stores, retail stores called Peaches back then, and we did a cement thing, where they put your feet in the cement. They was doing a sidewalk, a walk of fame like they have in Hollywood. This was in Dallas, Texas, at this pizza stores that we did that. And I worked with ABC for a while. Got my education on the streets while I was at ABC, because ABC was independent. Really, they didn't have distribute. They didn't have offices. You know what I mean? Have distributors, have offices across the country. Like with Capital, there was they had distributors. They had branches in a lot of the major markets. There was a branch in Dallas. That's what I worked out of when I was at Capital. But with ABC, you were on your own. You worked out of your house. All the product was shipped to your home. And from ABC, I went to CBS. And CBS is where I got my real education in the industry, and worked with all of the major artists that I worked with. I worked with, at that time in history, CBS, which is now Sony, had every major black act you can think of. Columbia was the powerhouse. When I first came to CBS, Columbia was the powerhouse. Columbia had Earth, Wind and Fire, Denise Williams, uh, the Emotions, the Manhattans, Herbie Hancock, uh, Cheryl Lynn, Johnny Taylor, Joe Tech. I mean, these were all big artists that was on Columbia. In the beginning, Columbia was the black powerhouse. And after a while, Epic didn't really have anything but their custom labels. They had Philly International, which was Teddy Pendergrass, the OJs, Patti LaBelle. All of those acts were on Philly International. So I worked for CBS as a local, then regional, then national. Then I was made into vice president of Epic Records, where I had a chance to work with Michael, Tina Marie, Luther Vandross, Sade, which was my love of my life, Sade, and and I said Luther and Tina and M. Toomey, the Isley brothers. So we had a good run. We had a great run. I ended up with Epic the last 3 years that I was with Epic as VP. We were the biggest black label in the world, with the help of Michael Jackson. It said the house that Michael built. We had Thriller and Off the Wall. I worked both of those projects with Michael, and a few of the projects that he did with his brother, like Victory and Destiny and all of those projects. But I had a great time working with him. It was the thrill of my life.
So, while working with them, what was some of the, what was your job description, so to speak?
Well, I was radio promotions and marketing. Back in those days, that was it. If you didn't get it on the radio, you just were not heard of. There was no internet, no social media, no cell phones. It was none of those, none of that technology. We had to actually take records to radio stations and things of that nature. So, nowadays when I serve as a record, I just email it to a radio station. The industry, everybody always asks me how much as the industry has changed, and the technology has changed. The industry has not changed. Okay. You still need a hit record.
Right.
It don't matter if you listening to it on a headset or on so and all the technology, you still need a hit record. And you still have to have some emotional connection with your audience. The basic premise of the industry will never change. Truly, IG may influence it somewhat, which really is. I understand and agree with artists that I would not want IG involved with creativity of the music at all. It's just not a human element.
I totally understand that. So,
Mhm.
you said that you're living now in Houston.
No, I don't live in Houston. I
No,
live outside of Houston. I'm
outside
not.
of Houston.
Matter of fact, when I first moved down here, I did live in Houston. I lived in Houston for about a year or two till I sort of got my bearings. You know what I mean? I've moved so many times that I have learned that you never purchase or do anything until you get a lay of the land. So I was just telling someone the other day, during my time in the industry, shit, I moved 11 times. I think it was 11 or 14 times I moved. I lived in Dallas, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Memphis, Nashville. Yeah, lived in all those markets. And I live in Sugar Land now, but it's about 30 miles outside of Houston.
So with all that you've done, I'm
Mhm.
sure that they gave you a key to the city.
You know what? I did get a proclamation. The city gave me a proclamation. I was really honored that Houston honored me with that because I'm not really from here, and I haven't really had a major impact in Houston. I've worked with a lot of Houston artists, and Houston is rich with talent. There are a lot of tons of acts, and I was really surprised uh, the rich cultural and talent that is in this market. I mean, a lot of people think of Houston as a hick city, and they have cowboys and they're riding horses and that sort of stuff. This city is growing by leaps and bounds. Okay, it is the fourth largest city in the country. Plus, I mean, it is a great place. Great place to live. I don't want to have too many people move down here. It's already 50,000 people move to Houston a month. It is ridiculous. The traffic down here now is as worse as Los Angeles. Okay. I mean, and they're building new freeways every day, but they can't keep up. They just can't keep up. But I love the market. And I got down here kind of on accident. I still consult record labels and do promotions and things of that nature. I just don't do as many as I did before. And I only deal with people I want to be bothered with. You know what I'm saying? It's gotten to the point is I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I know this industry inside and out. Uh, if I see something that I'm really inspired by or something I think has a chance of making it, then I work with them. And I've worked with several artists since I've been down in Houston. I've had a couple of number one records, had a couple of platinums. Lately, I did the J Dash record, WAP, which has sold over 3 million. I did the George Tandy project, March, that went to number 2 on the national Billboard charts. So I'm still doing real well in the industry, and I've had just been blessed enough to have a rich vault of friends and associates that's always been very supportive. And my daughters and my wife, which passed last year,
I'm sorry.
which yeah, which has thrown me for a complete loop. Because we were married 54 years, so it's like a lifetime with her. So trying to get through that has been challenging. That has been real challenge. Uh, but other than that, life is good. I'm healthy, thank God, which I can't believe because of all the dumb stuff I did when I was young. Uh, but I've had real good friendships with Sade, which is one of my prize projects that I introduced to America. And people will find it hard to believe, but back then, I was telling somebody this today, matter of fact, out of my book, I was telling the story about Sade, is that Epic didn't know what to do with her. They did not want to release her in the States because they saw her as a jazz artist, which I never did. And she was so huge in Europe, Epic was afraid that they would end up with egg on their face if they released it over here and couldn't repeat the kind of success that she had had in Europe. So I came up with a good marketing concept and flew to Europe and convinced her that my way would work. She didn't believe me. We did not hit it off in the beginning, but we ended up being great friends. And I really enjoyed working with her and Matthew. a saxophone player, which was one of her co-writers in a lot of her material. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really identified with her, because she was involved with the creativity of the material. I
Mhm.
always liked working with artists like Luther, loved working with Luther. He had just mountains of creativity and a perfectionist. He could be a real pain because he was a perfectionist. So was Michael. Michael was a perfectionist. Uh, I enjoyed working with Tina Marie. Tina was the kind. She went in. I was in the studio with Tina when she did Lover Girl. Uh, Loved working with her. In the book, there's some things you'll find out about me and Tina Marie. Uh, okay, and I loved working with Sade. M. Toomey, I was in the studio with M. Toomey when he did Juicy Fruit. And the Isley Brothers, Kelly and Ronnie and all of them, man, they were just a laugh. And Eddie Levert and William them from the OJs, man, I had a dream job. You know what I'm saying? Working with that type of talent. You
Yes.
know, I mentioned in the book the person that I got to know real well and didn't get a chance to work with that I really was hurt by was Phyllis Hyman. I
Mhm.
had a big crush on Phyllis. Phyllis was so fine. Yeah. And I used to run into her all the time, and I wanted to work with her, do some music with her, but I never got a chance to do that.
So how do you know? Because obviously you have the ear, you have the vision of
Mhm.
how or who can make a hit record. What can you give the people that are trying to make that hit record, as far as some jewels that to drop?
Well, I would tell anyone your writing is the most important. I mean, it has really taken. Well, I can't say that. Because there's always been frivolous records and empty records with hooks and cute sayings and things of that nature that make people go buy it. You know, every record is not going to have the depth that you would like it to have, and not have the creativity, but it just may have a sound. You can't never really tell what is going to be the element in the material that makes it happen. You know, First of all, you've got to go in there with some type of talent, okay? And then, matter of fact, I'm working with a new artist right now. Her name is McCall. Okay, remember her name. If
McCall.
this material turns out the way I'm thinking it is, she's gonna be a big act. She's a girl out of Houston, Texas. And when I first heard her material wasn't as good as I thought it could be. You know what I'm saying? But I heard something in it. It was some creativity about it that was lacking in a lot of other material that I've listened to. And I could tell it was something there. I don't know what it is that I've just been blessed enough to have an ear and hear stuff before some people do. I've been ahead of some people, ahead of the curve on some of the stuff that was happening. Because trust me, you would not believe the arguments that I had to have on some major hit records that
Mhm.
people didn't believe in.
Like what?
SOS Band was one. SOS Band was. I had a big argument with the label about SOS Band. I just knew it was a record, and it was a record as soon as it's some records, and these are they're very rare, very rare. Some records, as soon as you put it on the turntable, it starts selling. I mean, as soon as people hear it, it happens. I've only had that happen 2 or 3 times in my life. Okay. One record in which people would probably not remember, but was like that, was a group called Domino, Ghetto Jam. He had a record, you had to go back and listen to it. I know you're too young to remember it, but it was a record called Ghetto Jam. It was just different than anything else that was out there at that time. Same thing with SOS Band. And as soon as it went on the radio, it exploded. it starts selling immediately. Most records don't do that. It takes time and effort on most records. But if you're blessed enough to have one, as soon as the needle hit it, woo, that's a dream come true.
Right.
Yeah,
And for you
dream
to
come.
say three, man, that's people can't even get one.
Yeah, yeah.
So what inspired you to pursue your career in music industry?
I just had a love from it from day one. Like I say in the book, you read that I say in my book, I used to go to church just to hear the choir. And that's the truth. I'm paying no attention to what the preacher was saying and none of that stuff. But I want to hear that choir rock, man. I used to get in the back of the church. My aunt, my grandmother, and them used to make me sit in the back because I was going to direct the choir. I don't care what was going on. I get it, man. I'd be in it. You know what I'm saying? And I was doing that as a kid. I was like that as a kid, and I don't know what it was. It was just in me, you know. Because I would go. My aunt was in the choir. Both of my aunts were in the choir. And I used to go up to choir practice with them and sit in the back of the church and just listen to the choir rehearse. I was in the band. I was just in. I played sports and all that, but I had to be in the band for a few years just to learn how to play something. I wasn't very good at it. I was better at hearing it than making it.
What were you trying to play?
I played piano. I played trombone. I played sax. I tried all of them. I was even in a group for a minute in high school. I did some doo wop, all of that.
You can sing?
No, man, please. I can't play dead. I can hold a tune. Matter of fact, there is a story in the book that is a very memorable time for me. Now, I can hold a note, okay? Because I was in Los Angeles with Tina Marie and Temptations, and we had been out to lunch or something. Tina was out there recording Lover Girl, so I was out there hanging out with Tina, and we were all BSing and riding back in the limo from lunch or something, and somebody started singing. So I started singing too. So I'm singing along with the Temptations and Tina Marie, and you couldn't tell me shit. I mean,
That's
you couldn't tell me nothing when I got out of there. I said, man, I just got through harmonizing with the Temps. And
right.
please, yeah, that's it. Then Tina had made a comment, said, man, you're not bad. I forgot what she said. I was an alto or whatever she said I had a voice for, but I had a great time with it, and I'll always remember that time when we were out there singing together. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Can you share some of the behind moments during the development of Sade?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff in the book here that I don't want to talk about because I'd
I
give it away.
know, I know.
Yeah. I mean, there's some stories in there by Teddy Pendergrass, who was my favorite artist to hang out with because he was crazy. Teddy loved to party. Teddy Pendergrass was some of my most outrageous stories. Had some good stories with Sade, Luther, and Tina. Oh, it's a good story about Tina Marie, and I mean, you might as well know it. She asked me to sleep with
Ooh, so it's juicy, y'all. Make sure y'all go get that book.
her. Yeah, when radio was king. Okay.
Radio was king. That is,
Hmm.
you know, well, are you able to tell us about the involvement with Michael Jackson?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I loved working with Michael. Yeah,
Yes.
I loved working with Michael. It took a little time for us to develop a relationship because Michael was kind of offish and I was kind of rambunctious, I guess would probably be the best word. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us when we're young, and I'm loud and bossy and stuff like that. And it kind of threw him, off a little bit. Took me a little time to develop the right temperature around him. But we got to be real close. He used to call me all the time, talk about everything. Uh, Man was very smart, smarter than most people will ever know. Because they try to play him off like he was a gay or pedophile. He wasn't none of that. Michael like girls. I seen that. Now I know that for a fact. uh,
If he
uh,
can have whichever one he wanted.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, he used to give me tons of gifts. My house was broken into when I was in New Jersey, and they stole my gifts from Michael. Man, that just broke my heart.
Oh,
He sent me some stuff from Japan. Clarence Avant had sent me some stuff. I mean, when my house was broken into in New Jersey, it really took a lot of things. It just can't be replaced, you
right.
know. And then me traveling so much and moving so much, I lost a lot of my gold records and plaques and things. But I still got 3 to 4 walls full of stuff. So
Woo,
yeah,
boy.
yeah. But I lost a lot of stuff. I did, but I moved. And then on top of that, Gene Griffin, you know who Gene Griffin is, don't
Yes.
you? Gene Griffin was Teddy Riley's manager, who owned GR Production, who used to be a heroin dealer. Okay. Gene Griffin stole some of my stuff, which I never understood. Stole a lot of my plaques and things. I think it was just hatred, but shit, I'm the one should have been hating him. He stole money from me, which is in the book.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
he stole money from me and Teddy. So it was, what the hell?
right.
Life goes on.
Yeah, he said I got about 3, 4 walls full. I loved it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm missing some. I'm missing some.
Right.
I've been doing it for 50 years. If I don't have 3 or 4 walls after 50 years, I'm not doing something right. And there's a lot of things I didn't, I think I do have that Isaac Hayes gold record. And but I didn't have I think I got my SOS and my Mtoomey, but just a ton of stuff. Natalie Cole, I didn't get none of my stuff on Natalie. Chaka Khan, I don't have none of that. Let me see. Some more stuff I got from Capital ABC, but it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know,
Can you shed light on your experience working with the emerging artists like Teddy Riley and guiding them through success?
I did Teddy. I signed Teddy when he was 15 years old.
Mhm.
He had a group called Kids at Work. I discovered Teddy. I did Guy. I did that first Guy album. Yeah, Teddy Jam and all that stuff. That's me. Rex in Effect, New Jack Swing, me. I got my hands on a lot of stuff.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I did all the Teddy stuff.
And how did you meet him? Like, how did that
Gene,
whole thing come
Gene
about?
Griffin brought him to me. Gene brought a cassette. If you can remember, I know you don't know what a cassette.
I know what a
Gene,
cassette player is.
yeah, Gene brought a cassette of a kid in Harlem to my house one night and said he noticed. He said this kid's got a group T. He said he's serious. I put the tape in the player. As soon as I heard it, I signed it.
Right.
I said Teddy was a genius. You know, he was I think he was 15 years old when he had that group. I left CBS and Gene called me and asked me to come back to New York and work for him and Teddy and run their company. And I came back to New York and did GR production, did all of the stuff to GR, all the stuff that Teddy released. I mean, worked all that stuff. Keith Sweat, Boy George, James Ingram. He was producing everybody, Heavy D, all that stuff. So I hooked Teddy and them up with Quincy Jones, which later got him a deal to do a track on Michael Jackson. I did Arsenio Hall with him. We did the Arsenio Hall show. We had a good run over there with Teddy. It's just that, people start stealing. That always happens.
So you would say it's important to have the paperwork together.
Oh, please. Yes. I was a very trusting person. And didn't dot all my I's and cross all my T's on a lot of deals back then. I think you stuck. I think you frozen.
They got me frozen.
You having a problem with
Am I good now? Am I moving? Yep. Okay, can you share a piece of advice for aspiring individuals looking to make a mark in the industry?
Mm. Is he trying to, if they're trying to make a mark in the industry as an artist, because so, you can be a marketing person, anything in the industry other than just an artist. Uh, but if you try to do, I would concentrate on my writing. I mean, that is it. Concentrate on your writing. If you're not a musician, if you're a lyricist, then concentrate on your lyrics, concentrate on your content. And that's a word everybody uses, content. You
Right.
got to have good content.
And if they are trying to follow in the lines of the type of work you do, what is some
Hmm.
good advice?
Get to know a lot of people in the industry. Get to know. I did not have that. I had to go out and shake a whole bunch of hands. And then what I did was when I first got in the industry, and especially a person with no background in that kind of thing, because I had a business major. I didn't have any kind of public relations background or any kind of press background. So what I did was I just outworked everybody. I swear to God, the first 4 or 5 years that I was in the industry, I was everywhere. I went to every retail outlet. I don't care if you only sold one record. I would stop in and visit, introduce myself. I went to every radio station, even the ones back in the boonies. I used to go down to Texas City at a little radio show. Used to come on late at night and play R&B music called Randy in the nighttime. I used to go down there and visit him. I'd be sitting in the control room with him while he was on the air. I did that all the time. So it wasn't a surprise to me that I eventually succeeded at it because I've tried hard. I worked hard at it.
Right. That's some great advice. Now, I know that you've dealt with different type of music genres, like reggae, and like how were you able to
Gospel, I've
blend
done
everything?
everything. Yeah, except country.
Not country, not yet, not
Not yet.
yet. How do you
Uh-uh.
stay afloat with all those different genres?
Well, I know a bunch of white boys. Okay, I ain't ashamed to say, and I be truthful with you. They've given me more work than my own. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's it's the truth. And I just happened to learn pop radio. Uh, and matter of fact, I had a lot of good friends that I didn't realize I had that are in the consulting business now, that are in Canada and all over the place and in Europe. And I still have relationships with them. Matter of fact, I just talked to a guy today that I hadn't spoken to since Epic Records that is managing 2 or 3 big rock and roll bands. You know, so I have relationships over 50 years. You're going to build a relationship, hopefully, with a few people anyway.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
And can you once again tell us about your book so that everybody can make sure that they tap in?
Please go to whenradiowasking.net. That's my website where you can get an autographed copy of the book. If you purchase it from that website, you can get me, I'll autograph it and mail it to you personally. But you can get it at Barnes and Noble and Apple. I mean, not Apple, because the audiobooks are not out yet. It should be out before the end of the month. And but all the other outlets, Barnes and Nobles, everywhere it's available, ebooks available. But it is basically my story, my mistakes, and there are many. Uh, some of my bold things that I did, the people that how daring and stupid I used to be, that I had to trust me. I used to carry a gun at all times. I had to stop doing that because I was too headstrong and too quick tempered for that. So all of that is in the book. Not only the great stories about me and Michael and Teddy and Luther and Sade, but my missteps and
I
boo-boos.
love it. And that helps others that is trying to come in.
Absolutely.
Now,
Hmm.
I was speaking to our mutual friend.
Mr. Don Cody, that's my
Yes,
dog. Yeah.
and also Mr. Green, Mr. Kyle A. Green Sr. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to ask you, as far as being headstrong, can you go a little deeper into that? Like, explain.
Well, hard-headedness has helped me with my success, and it has hurt me. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes you go off about something that you believe and you're wrong. You're just wrong. And you have to be willing to admit that sometimes it's hard to get back there to admit that you were wrong. you know. But one thing good about the age that I have gotten to, which I never thought I would have gotten to this age, is that I'm not as quick on the trigger. I'm not as easily upset because I'm not a very open person as far as being a whole bunch of friends and, two or three good friends is all I need. You know what I mean? I don't need 50 friends because 49 of them are bullshitting you. Okay. I got two good best friends, I got 3 or 4 good friends that I really can depend upon.
Right.
And that's it. And I got my daughters and my grandson and my shepherd, my baby there. See, she does. What's she? Come and tell her. Come and tell her. Show my baby.
They say, "Oh God, look at the
So they
doggy."
can see you.
Hey there.
Yeah. Yeah, she's about 100 pounds. She's a big
Yeah.
girl.
So,
Yeah.
so for some that's out there, because I'm very similar, I would say.
Hmm.
How do you, how did you change that? How did you deal with the time that you've learned to
What do you mean? How did I deal with the
like?
time? I mean, I've made a bunch of mistakes. I've befriended a lot of people that have stabbed me in the back. I mean, that is just a part of growing. Uh, I mean, being young, I was upset about it. I mean, at some point, I really was going to do harm to some people. I had to grow out of that. You know, but like I say, I'm a much better person now.
Can we see?
Much
Can we
better,
see that
huh?
that plaque, that wall of plaques before we go?
Well, oh yeah. Well, this is one. This is in my office here.
Mhm.
Okay, that's me and Quincy Jones over there. Me and Michael. Me and Cindy Lauper. That's me and George Duke. That's my city proclamation. That's an article on me from Houston Business Journal. That was an ad that my staff did for me when I made Executive of the Year for CBS. That's my baby. That was my wife right there of 54
Beautiful.
years. Uh, there's my grandson
Oh,
and the shepherd. Okay. And this is the rest of my family up here on this wall. My daughters, my mother.
she's beautiful.
Uh, thank you. My 2 girls, my aunt Jewel, my grandson up there, and this is another wall here
Wow.
with gold records. So that's
That's
it.
it. Well, thank you so much. Where can they find you on social media?
You can find TC Thompkins. That's all you gotta do is type TC Thompkins. You'll find me anywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I've really
Yes,
enjoyed
sir.
it.
Well, everybody, it's your girl Lizzie Yayo, forever keeping in the bando with TC Thompkins. Until next time,
Take care.
God
God
bless.
bless.